Hi, Nick Collier here. The days have changed a bit. It's a little cooler today. It kind of sprinkled last night, which was really nice because the spring plants could use the water, and we're happy about that. It's a cloudy day and a little bit chilly, but not too bad. We're starting on a new project today, and this is called the bench pin, and I'm going to play a video prior to this video that'll kind of give you an idea of where we're going with this. But for right now, basically I have cut up a series of slices of the 3.5-inch steel. This is 12L24, which has got a little bit of lead in it, which makes it real machinable. And so I've cut about 15 of these slices, put it in the lathe, and cut a hole through it and trimmed up one side. And that's kind of the beginning stages of building the base for this process. So maybe what I'll do is go ahead and cut another piece, and maybe you can watch in. All right, let's see. Tools. There we are. Well, the piece goes in the chuck. Well, I gotta clean the facing edges so I get a nice clean seat. Tighten it up. Turn the lathe on. It's gonna be noisy. You can see what I'm doing is I've got a digital readout up here, and I'm reading where the positioning of the carriage is at, so that I can cut each one the same measurement, so that later on when I get ready to do other things, it makes it a lot easier. So for right now, we're going to cut just that little section right there. Good. Back it up. Now we shift it into low gear, into the cross-feed gear, and bring that back into okay. And the cross-feed is going to start cutting that way. I'm going to move over here, because at the same time, I go ahead and drill a hole. I don't know if you can see. Start the first hole, which is about a 7/16 drill bit, and that'll cut in there pretty quick and fairly easy. And then once it gets drilled through, and I try to drill through before the carriage meets it, so that it's got a place to go. Shut the carriage down, drag it back a little bit. Let's put the larger drill bit in there. Well, of course you can't see it. I'm seeing that. That big drill bit just cuts right through. I gotta put a little oil on it once in a while. That would be a bad idea. Once it gets stabilized in the hole, then I could just really crank on it and start peeling off metal. And it goes through that 1/2 inch, pretty much like butter. Done deal right there. So that pretty much covers the first step of this whole process. This is basically what the finished product looks like of these little discs that we just finished cutting right there. And we've got Patty on the lathe right now. She's volunteered to cut the rest of these, cut the profile of the disc, which is, thank you, Patty. Wave to us, Patty. Hi! So we're going to show you what the profile looks like. And you can see the tool is just kind of peeling away, very slowly peeling away the design in the top of that piece of steel. So that's the next step. We'll get back to you when we go to the next one. Let's have a closer look at this contour tool that I cut. Oh, it took hours and hours to cut this tool, and I actually first made it not to cut this metal, but to make handles for files. I wanted to make these really fancy handles out of walnut and oak and that sort of thing. And I, created this little beautiful contour to do that with. And I even put a chip breaker in there because I knew I was dealing with wood. And even then, it just wouldn't work because it would just chew up the wood. I mean, it worked somewhat, but I wanted it to, work smoothly. So I put the tool away for, I don't know, a bunch of years. And then when this project came up, I went, oh, maybe I can just use that tool and make this contour. Now here we'll get this tool to slide right in, and you can see how it sets that contour up. Boop, there we go. So, yippee! I got to use the tool after all, and so we're going on to the next step. So if you're looking close at the piece itself, that contour tool does a great job, but it doesn't quite make it over there. Now, eventually we're going to cut an oblong hole out of the center here anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. But we've got some inconsistency here, and you can kind of see how the circle isn't exactly circular. So what I want to do is chuck it up in the small lathe here, this old soft bin. And just go ahead and take that edge off and smooth that part up there a little bit. It'll just take a few seconds per piece. And we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll go ahead and just pull right in. Just trim it down. It looks like it didn't quite take all the way for that first pass. Yeah, see, there's still a little piece left there that hasn't quite trimmed down. So then we'll just take another pass, no big deal. Let's just go ahead and drop it in there. Now you can kind of hear it. It makes a much more consistent sound when it actually takes. And we'll get that all the way up to it and then have a look at it. Much better. Look at that. Yeah. We'll come around that side. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, so nice and clean. That circle is a nice circle all the way around here. Everything looks very finished. And so I'm going to do that 14 more times, which is not too bad. And go ahead and move to the next step. Okay, on to the next step here. Probably about a year ago, I did my first 10 of these, and so I built a bunch of jigs to hold all of the little attachments, and then you'll see it more as we go along here. So now we've taken the formed piece of plate and drop it into the jig and tighten it up and put a mill bit in there, and let's crank it up. And we'll drop it down. What we're doing here is getting a flat spot so that when the bolt goes in, it has a nice place to sit. And then also Now, basically here I've set the dividing head, or dividing head, no, the rotary table up on 3 locations in a 360 degree turn. And this rotary table, I don't know if you can see this part here, but it's set up to do not only degrees, but hundreds of degrees. And so basically I'm just dropping it on a series of zeros, 120 degrees each turn. And that's going to give me 3 locations to mill out first, and then come back later and drill a hole through the center of it. We're going to show you how that's going here. So back to 0 again. Tighten it up. Drop the mill bit down, and basically it just kind of cuts a nice circular flat place in the center here. Let me bring that camera in so you can see a little better what's going on there. Now I'm going to turn it off and take the mill bit out, put the drill bit in, and we're going to drill a series of holes in that same place, in all 3 of those same places. Now, since I haven't really tightened the chuck, I have to be real careful at the end of the cut so that it doesn't grab. And even if it does grab, it's not that big a deal. It's just kind of a pain. There we go. There's one. Back to another 120 degrees. And take that to 0. Center the drill bit, and I can just start cranking down. And I guess I could use oil here, but I don't really need to. It's not a long, deep hole. I'm not pushing real hard, and it's not really wearing the bit down. Plus, it's a pretty small bit, so it's not a real loss if it breaks or whatever. Probably a $5 drill bit. And I've got probably 30 of them in my little drawer over there. My little drill bit drawer. Alright, so we're getting right down to it. Last hole. Loosen the holding nut. Pull the piece back out. And we'll do the other part later. And you can see that it's a hole with a countersink. So when the Allen bolt goes in, it has a nice place, nice clean place to sit. So, kind of makes it look a nice finish. And in fact, this is the one place where whoever buys this is going to be looking at this day in and day out. And I want them to see something really sweet. Well, good morning. It's Friday. We're back at the machinery doing what we're supposed to be doing. So yesterday we cut the pieces, we drilled the holes, we drilled the big hole in the middle, and remember seeing that piece there. And today we have to go in, and if you'll notice that here's the piece, and this is off at an angle. And so how to fit this into that hole and have it be nice. I mean, I could just set it up there and weld it, but then we'd have this kind of ugly weld sitting right at the joint. And if you look at that, that looks pretty nice. And the weld is down below. So just a couple of little tack welds hold the thing in place. So how to do that? And of course I worked this all out about 6 months ago when I made my first batch. and now we're working on the second batch, so I don't have to make any of these fixtures. But this is basically what we're trying to do. This is where we came to yesterday with the small round hole, and now we're going to make the hole larger and have it go in at an angle. So so the fixture that I created, and I'm going to pull you in a little closer here. The fixture that I created sets the thing up at the correct angle, and then basically just spins this, and then I run the tool into the hole and turn it out, and works pretty well. So off into machine land, and I got to do 15 of those, and when I get them done, I'll come back and we'll talk about the next one. I thought I'd give you a view of this thing in action, and the way this thing is spinning, kind of totally out of control, it looks pretty dangerous. I mean, if it caught it wrong, it would just chew up things. But the reality of it is that all I have to do is continue to move it back towards where the tool begins to grab, and I'm doing that now. And there it is. It's just starting to grab, and then just start working the piece. And you can see just a little bit of filings coming off. There it is. So we'll cut about halfway through, and I'll bring you back to this. All right, this is the last one. Turning it off. Drag the tool bit out, and you can get a kind of a view of how that hole went in there. There's just from the point of the tool bit, or from the perspective of the tool bit, and then once you kind of pull out, you can kind of see how out of round that is, although it's perfectly round. So that's the last one. I get to go take a break and have some lunch.